right, so let's go into now. Now he's traded. Like we already one game in, so by the time this is released, they'll have several games in. But now they did finally make the trade. Harding, I think they gave up too much just to get Harding, and you know, some of your points, G. They waited too late. You know, maybe they should have did it earlier, and then once they already, I guess, Ben felt disrespected for his name even coming up for trades and whatever happened. Now that he's traded, I mean, I really didn't like Harding, like coming in. I like his game, but you know, Sixers are on defense. It's like what they gave up now, to me, there's no other rationale or mindset other than they better win this year. Like they don't get these 20-something games to gel and hopefully in the playoffs, you know, they can excel or whatever. No, it's like who the Sixers playing in the championship? Anything other than that is like, why did they trade? Sure. And the other thing I wanted to bring up is not to punish Ben, but why trade him to another team that you're in competition with? And
that's an easy
and have that potential to have to deal with that.
Yeah.
When again, I think they had a pretty good team that maybe they wouldn't be considered to win a championship, but they had a good shot. Like,
right.
I mean, I still like the way they were flowing. They were still up there in the rankings and everything else. So that's my thing with the after the trade now. So what's y'all insight on after the trade has happened now?
Let's compare them, the team they are now and going forward to the team that they were before the trade. Mm-hmm. What they how great could they have been before they made this trade with what they had without Ben Simmons? And how far can they get with James Harden and what they got? Mm-hmm. They're a much better team with James Harden. Because even here's my point. Even if you would have had Ben Simmons showing up every day with the team they had, I don't think they were going to win a title.
Yeah.
They got a chance to win a title now.
You said with Ben Simmons or with him sitting out?
With him sitting out, they would not have.
Right.
Even with him, I don't think they would have. Even if he was showing up, playing every day, I don't think they would have been there because his game doesn't suit what Embiid does. I mean, it's kind of like a pieces to a puzzle. Harden fits in perfectly, man. He can open up the floor. He gonna space that floor. When Ben Simmons can come down, he can handle the ball, he can pass, but what the defense sagging off of him. When Harden come down, and, you know, when he cross half court, you got to pick him up.
Yeah.
Because he got range on that three, man.
Right.
And so I think they're a much better team, you know, just comparing, you try to see what they lost. And I say they paid a stupid tax. Yeah, you paid a stupid tax. Because I don't think, I think they should have been able to keep at least one of those guys. You know, either one of them. Curry would have helped with the shooting. Mm-hmm. Who's the big boy? Is it Drummond?
Drummond, yeah.
They could have. I think they would have been better off keeping at least one of those guys. Mm-hmm. But to me, in my opinion, they paid a stupid tax for the way they handled the whole situation. They should have made that move earlier.
Yeah. So I agree. I agree somewhat with you saying, like maybe halfway with what you're saying. Like, but I do think it was necessary to make the deal. I didn't want to give up Curry. I didn't want to give up Drummond either. But think about it. What did you really give up? Give up a backup center who plays 15, 16 minutes a game. That's all he plays. And he's going to leave at the end of the season anyway. So you're not going to hold a trade of that caliber up for a 16-minute a game guy. You're just not. Steph Curry, as valuable as he is, you just upgraded that position. So essentially, really what you traded for, you weren't going to get anything out of Ben. He wasn't going to play.
Right.
He made that
He's off the table.
Exactly.
Right.
So what you really got was you got James Harden for Steph Curry and Andre Drummond. I mean, really, are you really complaining about that? No, nobody's really going to complain about that. You gave up the draft picks. Nobody cares about those draft picks. There's going to be 28, 29 picks. And they couldn't make the trade earlier because Brooklyn was unwilling to do it at the earlier time. And he wanted either Dame Lillard, Bradley Beal, or James Harden, or no one else. And then at the end, he would revisit it and look at maybe bits and pieces of all-star caliber players, but he wanted a superstar.
Right.
And he had three names in mind: Lillard, Beal or Harden. None of those teams were willing to do that. The players didn't want to go out right then, so he couldn't make those deals right then. He played his cards right, being very patient, knowing, and listen, we know there's a wink going on back there and back channeling and all that stuff going on. He has a relationship with Harden. Like you know that has to factor into it. They know Harden wanted to be there. They knew he was unhappy in Brooklyn. They knew Kyrie didn't make it any better because him sitting out, not getting the vaccine, he messed up Brooklyn. So now you made James Harden unhappy because now he's doing the same thing in Brooklyn as he was doing in Houston. And he personally said, I want to leave Houston so I don't have to do all this stuff. I want somebody else where I don't have to do all this stuff. Right. And now Kyrie ain't playing. KD is hurt. I'm doing the same thing. I'm in Houston all over again. Yeah. Get me out of here.
And people have accused him of being a selfish player. Right. You know, the system in Houston called for him to play that way. I mean, they were going to shoot threes, man. That was it. That was everything. And he was a motor.
You talk about AI in his team a few years ago, right? He didn't have anybody around him. Harden was the same way. All they loaded him up with shooters, and that's it.
Right.
Yep.
So the only thing I disagree with what you were saying is for the trade, Drummond and Seth, you know, you gave the value of you know, losing them from the Sixers is not really no big deal. But on a business aspect, even though Ben was never playing for us again, that's still a $170 million asset. Like you can't just pretend like, and the skills that,
You got to get it off the books. That's business. You got to get that off the books. He ain't playing for us. I ain't paying the guy who ain't playing. I got to get it off the books.
But I'm talking about when you're trading for talent, though, that's what you're trading for. Is Ben Simmons is at the top of that. So yeah, get him off the books. But again, you can't have
got a better player.
You know, the only comparison I could say is like a Toyota and a Mercedes-Benz, a luxury car, and then you give them for a compact or whatever. Like,
nah, you traded the Toyota.
I still have a luxury car, and that's what I'm expected to get. You can't just blow them off to say, well, here's
the deal. Here's the deal, though, Sean. They don't trade cars. They don't trade players. They trade contracts, and so that's how they get the numbers to work out. So if you want to give a guy who's worth $90 million, $170 million. You know, just because you gave him $170 million, you know, you got to you trading that contract.
Right. This just goes back to my point. Then
value him at 90, so now you instead of just going 1 for 1, you got to give up that player plus some other stuff to get up to the 170 because they don't value him at that.
Right.
So
you got to remember too. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No,
you got to remember also that if they were to do this, and I said this earlier, like if they were to do this later in the offseason, as you said, they should have done. And they could have kept Curry. Yeah, they would have been able to keep Curry. Drummond may have decided to stay again. Who knows? I doubt that, though. He's going to get paid to be a starter. And if he did stay, okay, he's still only going to get 15, 16 minutes a game. So you're not really doing much there. So my point is that if you were to get Harden in the offseason and hold on to Drummond and Seth Curry, you're going to have to give up Tobias Harris because you can't get Harden's salary to fit in there without giving up that max contract. So it's a matter of do I want Curry, Harris, and Drummond and Tobias Harris, or do I want Harden, Tobias Harris, and Embiid? Like you have to give up in order to make him come in order to make Harden's contract work. And Harris will be a much better player with Harden because now Harris is a third option instead of a number 2 option, which he does not thrive in as a number 2 option.
Right.
He's better suited as a 3 option. And you can even argue, you know, you got Tyrese Maxey there too. So like, you know, them two can swap 3 and 4 on a given night. Which option is
3A, 3B, baby.
Exactly. So, and you want to hold on to that because they're going to thrive. You don't want to hold on to Seth Curry and Drummond. Like, and the reason why you want to do it also, you can't waste Embiid's season this year.
There you go.
You cannot waste this.
That was my next point.
Yeah, you can't. This is too good of a season. He has a real good. It's literally him that has this team as the number 3 seed in the Eastern Conference before the trade went down. That's literally him. You add a superstar talent, a Hall of Fame talent to that. Yeah, you got a shot to win the title, get MVP. He would have had All-Star Game MVP had it not been for Seth shooting the lights out. Yeah, you could have had everything right there. He can get so they I think they handled it the right way. You know, you don't want to risk losing this season for nothing.
And Chris, to expound upon that a little more, not just this season, man.
Absolutely.
How much longer you think Embiid gonna be able to play at this level? How many years?
Right.
5?
Mm-hmm. Great point. Yep.
Okay. And so people complain.
Probably.
People complain about Harden's age. How much longer you think Harden gonna be able to play at an elite level? 5 years?
I don't even give it 5. I give it maybe 2, 3.
Right. Like 3 years?
I give it a -1.
Nah,
he played his best already.
You good for 2.
Well, you said he's a bum. You said he's a bum, Sean. So your opinion.
So let me redefine the bum. He's a bum for what the Sixers had to give up. Like even before knowing what they had to give up to get him, I don't think that trade, like the Sixers gave up too much. If you don't think the Sixers gave up too much, huh?
You think they downgraded?
No, I never said they would downgrade by getting them. I just said in order to get them, like the problem is Ben Simmons. And so
correct.
In order to fix that problem, like I was telling you before, Chris, it's not necessarily punish other players, but I would allow them to have a shot at winning a championship because again, the way the record was and the way they were playing, they still had a shot. And so now making this trade, to me, there's not even a conversation I want to have now. I just want to know who the Sixers playing in the championship. I don't want to hear nothing else.
Right. All right. Let me say this
playoffs. All right, go ahead.
So, to your point, okay, but they told you by making this trade, Sean, you're wrong. We don't believe your philosophy. We don't think we have as good of a shot as you think we do. Because if they believed that they had a shot to win it this year, they wouldn't have made that trade right now.
Right.
They would have held on to that, got Harden for free, and moved Tobias Harris over. They didn't believe that they had a shot to actually beat Milwaukee or Brooklyn. They didn't believe it.
I don't think they had. I don't think they had much of a shot at all. I mean, I'm not gonna say they didn't have a chance. They had a chance.
I agree they had a chance, but it was a small.
But then you got Milwaukee, you got Brooklyn, you got Miami.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think they would. To me, in my opinion, I don't think it would have been to beat those 3 teams.
Yeah, it's gonna be trouble. It was gonna be tough. Yeah, it's gonna be real tough. Yeah. Right. They had to be flawless each game in order to beat those teams as constructed before the trade. They had to be flawless. And they showed you throughout this year they weren't flawless because they were on one game, off another game. No, they needed a bona fide superstar that even if he's off, he can make everybody else better.
Right.
And Ben was unwilling to do it. He wasn't playing. Ben wasn't going to do it for you because he wasn't playing. And Seth is good, but it's not like he's shooting 65% from the 3-point line.
Right.
It's not like he's averaging 27 points a game.
Right.
Not at all. So, they had to make the move.
This trade puts them on the top line.
Yes,
I mean, Sean, you say they got to be in the finals, but I mean, they're in the top line as far as they looking eye to eye with Milwaukee right now. Yeah, you eye to eye, you toe to toe.
Absolutely.
And my thing is, how are you going to expect a team that they got popped by Atlanta, that same team to come now and go to the finals? I'm talking about the team with Ben Simmons. They got popped by Atlanta.
Yeah.
So now that team is going to go to the finals.
Without Ben Simmons too?
Right. No.
It's not going to happen.
It ain't going to happen.
Yeah. They knew that. They knew that. Yeah.
So I hear what y'all saying. I don't feel like they disagree. I think the personal relationship the GM had kind of put him in a bad position to make the deal. I think it was more personal than business. And so it's not that I was wrong or
no, I think it's both. It's both.
I think they shouldn't have waited.
It's both.
Me thinking they should have waited, no telling what kind of deal they could have made, at the end of the season. I just think they could have made a better deal at the end of the season than what they did now just to get him. So now my question
even if that's true, you have to go back to Chris's other point. Why waste this man's season?
Right.
He's playing at an all-world level. Yeah. Let's do it now. Let's not wait. Yeah.
So let's
try to cash in on this season. Let's try to cash in.
Real quick, with Embiid, things happen for a reason. I contribute a lot of Embiid stepping up, which may be a blessing in disguise, is to prove, Ben, that he's on another level now. Like, I don't need you, Ben. I'm going to show you what I can do.
Joe's
in order to lift this team up a little heavier.
Yeah,
so that's my take on the Embiid thing.
I can see
and
that.
it's good to see.
Right.
So,
But you gotta
he
also
could drop
remember
30, 40 a night. Go ahead.
He was doing, but this is the kind of year he was having last year also, though. With Ben. He was having this same type of season with Ben last year. So to your point, I do agree also that he's like, in his mind, I don't need that, as you said, brother, MFR.
Right.
And in Joe's mind, he's like, I don't need him. We're going to do this without that. Right. Just like Giannis did. He didn't want to go nowhere else. He said, I'm going to do this here. And everybody else can go wherever they want to go. I'm going to do it here with what we got. Joe, I think, has that same mindset. We don't need him. He's going to act like this, don't want to show up.
Yeah. We're
going to do this like this, and we're going to get the best we can get. And they all knew that he needed some help. And they saw that. They knew the reason he didn't get MVP last year is because he missed too many games. He ain't missing them games this year because they knew we got this MVP right here. We're going to play him. We're going to ride him. And now, since we've been riding him, he's been delivering. Now we got to get him some help.
Right.
And that's why I said it's not only a personal thing. It's personal and it's business. It's both.
It's personal because Ben Simmons made it personal.
Yes, he did.
And then you got to also remember, a lot of people was questioning whether or not those two pieces fit together anyway. Right. We didn't know if they fit together skill wise because Embiid would benefit from somebody who's a better shooter.
Right.
That's one space the floor for him.
Yep.
And now we know it didn't fit personality wise. So that's another person. They personalities don't, they didn't gel, man. So it was a bad fit.
Yeah.
So I mean, and now he's got a dog. I mean, what we can say about Harden, man? Yeah. He ain't shy about taking those shots, man.
I don't know. And that's what Joe.
It's going up. If you leave him open, it's going up. He did that last night, right? I was watching. I didn't see the game. I watched the highlights. I see this brother coming down hitting threes from the corner. He's doing all kind of stuff. I'm like,
my man hit
I was thinking about you too, Sean. As he's dropping them threes, I said, I wonder what Sean's doing, man. I mean, is he watching this or what?
No, here's the difference. From last year when he had Ben, and this is the different stuff they was looking for Ben to improve on or whatever to help out with, to this year not having Ben. And now Embiid is bringing the ball up sometimes, and he's launching more threes. And so without Harding, what I've seen with the one game so far since Harding played, but without Harding, Embiid still couldn't see the floor and hit the open man. You know what I mean? When he get double and triple team
this year, man.
No, I said before Harding last year. I'm sorry.
Last year. Okay, well,
last year.
All right. He was
this
better,
year. But he's improving on that.
He's great.
But nobody's perfect, but he's improved on that.
Right.
The one game I seen with Harding yesterday, and I think the reason why they scored the 133 was Harding is showing them how to get that open guy, either slashing or whatever. You only got a certain amount of space to get that in. And I think they did that to
it's
perfection yesterday as far as being able to score that 133 or whatever. So
you hear Embiid's comments after the game? Right.
No, I didn't listen to anything.
Yeah, he told you why. He was like, man, I ain't had that much space in front of me ever. Like it's the presence of Harden, and Harden was double teamed a lot. Joe had single coverage. You got to pick your poison. You going to double team James Harden? You going to double team Joel Embiid? Well, without Harden, they're going to double team Embiid. When you got Ben Simmons in there, they're going to double team Embiid. Yeah, right? This is what he always had to deal with.
With Ben Simmons, they could have double teamed Embiid and another shooter
and somebody else. Absolutely. But now with Harden, you want to double team me? James got it. You want to double team him? Well, they double team him. Tobias Harris said the same thing yesterday too. He only had 8 points, or 6 points. And he was like, "Yo, I had all this space in front of me. I couldn't believe how much space I had in front of me." And Joe said the same thing. I've never had this much room in front of me in my entire career. You had two guys, your other two stars on that team said the same thing about the spacing, all after one game with one player.
Right. Yeah. And that's what would have, and that's why everybody was salivating with Ben, right? It was like this dude could get a shot and space that floor. Not like Harden, but just space it a little more. Give some. It would have been over.
It's it.
Yeah, everybody was salivating.
They would have won last year. They would have won this year and next year, and then it's over. Yeah. But he wouldn't do it.
Right.
And I'll say this: Ben did that intentionally. He intentionally didn't do it. His coach said, yeah, I want him to shoot one 3-pointer a game. Ben said, what? He ain't shoot a 3 for the next 23-something games, 20-something games.
Yeah.
Like, that's intentional.
It's intentional.
That tells you the mindset you're dealing with that kind of play.
Right.